Hello and welcome. First to Monza, later we'll be traveling to Barcelona. The deal is that my previous video was an LFM race. If you watched it, you would know. And that was on Barcelona, and I guess they run the same track for the whole week for the daily races on LFM. So I just registered for another Barcelona one for the evening that I recorded this video. But I had a bit of time to kill before that scheduled race would start. So I just joined this Monza lobby that I found that had very short race with 15 minutes and a short qualifying, I believe 7 minutes, I'm not sure anymore. But anyway, I managed to do a 1 minute 50.1, which is alright. I did improve to a 149.4, which I was very happy with. Might actually be my personal best, question mark. Okay, I quickly checked in my stats and my personal best is a 149.3 with this car on this track. So no improvement, but very close. So I was very happy with the time, especially since I haven't done that much Monza again. Now on the rolling start, I was behind Scoletto, I suppose. And then to their left is Gleck in the black and orange BMW. I had a better start, so I'm catching up to the back of this Ferrari in front of Scoletto. And they moved left, so happy days for me. I just happily stay alongside. But then they start to move back over, and I didn't realize that the tarmac runs out on the right there and turns into grass. So disaster, I'm the bad guy here for sure. I crash out the guy that I think qualified P1, either that or P2. It's Mavericks. So yeah, I felt really bad about that one. We can look at it again in the replay, it's even clearer. So I have a good getaway, but I am a little boxed in the front and on the left. Now Scoletto moves to the left, so I have plenty of room on the right. I decide to stick with it, but then Scoletto starts squeezing me. There's no physical contact there, but by the time I realize I'm running out of road, it's too late, and I can't apply the brakes properly anymore, so I crash out Mavericks. And doesn't feel good. In Dutch they say regret comes after the sin, and yeah, definitely the case there. I didn't mean to do it. I think there were some mitigating circumstances, but already when I was going into the 3 white, I was thinking kind of, this is a bad idea, I should probably back out, but then by the time I commit to backing out, I don't have the space to brake properly anymore. Anyway, the race is back underway. Mavericks, I think, went through in a P3, or P2 even, so all in all they didn't lose too much. I don't remember which position I started in, but I think I'm pretty even all in all. Get overtaken by a Tulp in just after the second chicane. I had a pretty bad time there. But then coming out of Lesmos 2, there's a car off track and it ended up being Mavericks. So I was looking back in the replay, and in Lesmos 1 they run high on the curbs and then they are a bit too early on the throttle, so they run wide. Let's Glick line up a move in Lesmos 2, and Mavericks runs wide again and then bumps into Glick on the way back on track. It's possible that they had damage there and that was causing it, although by the looks of their car there is some visible damage, but not too bad. So kind of hard to say. But whatever the case, they decide that, yeah, this will do. So they park by the side of the road and they teleport to garage to then type an angry message about me wanting to win the race in turn 1 and ruining it for them. And I fully get the frustration. I was definitely at fault there. I obviously wasn't actually trying to win the race in turn 1, but I mean, regardless, it was on me. So if they by any chance happen to see this, I'm sorry, Mavericks. I really didn't intend to do that. But yeah, life goes on. And I find myself at this time in P6, again behind Scoletto, so pretty much like the start of the race. And then in front of Scoletto there's SAA in a green, I believe, Lamborghini. And then Tulp is in the Mustang in front of them. And then P1 is just up the road. Oh no, sorry. I know Gleck was still in front there, yeah. So we're a group of 5 cars and P1 is quite a bit up the road indeed. So Tulp gets overtaken on Glick. And we're all heading to the second chicane. I'm too far behind to think about a move, but then Scoletto breaks super early, so I get the move done anyway. And on the exit of the chicane, Tulp and Glick are having a moment. They have a romantic coming together and get another overtake there. I was a little worried in the moment, but it ended up working out well for me. So here we see SAA maybe braking a little early, Scoletto even more careful, leaves the door open for me, so I just move in straight away. And then Glick tried to move on Tulp, who did the switchback, and Glick hit the sausage curb, banged into Tulp, who went off track, and then on rejoining he just pit maneuvered Glick. I'm not gonna analyze who's at fault there. I feel, yeah. Anyway, I'm not gonna comment anymore on it. I didn't look at it close enough. Coming to the Ascari chicane, I'm very close to SAA, but not close enough to really make a move. And also on entry, I don't fancy that move anyway. I prefer it on the exit. But I see Tulp coming super close behind, and they were about to run in the back of me. So I get off the brakes and I ruin my own line through the Ascari chicane, figuring it would be okay if I can keep the car on the road, because there's no real way through in the chicane. But of course, after there are more possibilities. So if you look at it again, SAA defending the inside, I'm staying on the outside. Tulp came super close. I let go of the brakes, run a little deep because of it, but recollect myself midway through the chicane, so all good there. But then Tulp is driving a Ford Mustang, and it's a car notable for the straight line speeds. So yeah, on this long straight, they just come alongside me. I stay on the outside, and I'm kind of expecting SAA to just move to the inside because that's the racing line and they had every right to do it. But I guess Tulp gets the dive done just in time, and yeah, a little wide to try and avoid the contact with SAA, but in the end it's all good. We're now a train of 4 cars with Tulp out in front, then SAA, then me, and then Boma or Booma, who is very close behind and looking to overtake on the inside. Luckily, I was catching up slowly to SAA, and he was defending the inside as well. So I moved to the outside, and I think SAA ended up blocking Boma. And then there's some more bit of a kerfuffle, but maybe we'll see it better in the replay. So here I am, close behind SAA. SAA defends the inside. Boma catches a slipstream until the very last moment, moves all the way to the inside, but that's very risky business, and it seems to be more of a dummy thrown. And then they shuffle back behind SAA, but I outbraked SAA, so I take the position from them, and I am now P3 behind Tulp, while way in the distance Seaver or Seve, I don't know, is really running away with it. Now next time around I put a 1 minute 50.7 on the books for my personal best, which is not a great time for me, as we saw in the qualifying. But I was looking to start my LFM race very soon, so even though I looked for a short race, I still wasn't able to complete this one, and I have to dive into the pits. But look at my dash, it says minus 1.4 seconds up on my delta. So I was closing in on a new personal best, or at least equalizing my current one of a 149.3. So maybe I should have completed the lap and then parked up on the side, but I wasn't thinking too much about it. I was more focused on getting to this LFM race. So here we are in qualifying. First time around, I was going for an out lap, so no time set. The gaps here in qualifying are really important because there's quite a few rules about who you can overtake and mostly who you can't. You're always supposed to take responsibility for the gap out front, so if you close up on someone, then you're not allowed to overtake. And I saw behind that Piscors did a 146.8, but I messed up. That was it. I messed up my first lap. I had a track limit, so I didn't manage to get a time on board. So even though Piscors was really close, they're responsible for the gap, so I went ahead with my next lap and I closed it just before they were really on my gearbox. So I get a 148.5 on the board, and from there I wasn't sure how to handle the situation exactly, because I know that they are responsible for the gap out front, but it becomes a little difficult because very often you'll do a timed lap and you'll just immediately go into the next one and so on. There is no no down build laps and down laps and so on. You just do one after the other. So if you're faster than the car in front, if you both do multiple laps in a row, inevitably you'll catch up with them, and then you have to bail out, I guess. But I felt bad because Pisco was clearly faster than me, and I wasn't happy with my 148.5. But then if you look at my tire pressures, they were too high because this quali and this race were actually in very high temperatures which I hadn't noticed up until this point. But air temperature 31, I think 32 for the race, and track temperature 38. So I just did my first quali lap, screwed it up with track limits, did my second one. I was right in front of Piscois and I just went around another time. But that time, third time, I put down a lap, and then the third time I got out of the way anyway, even though I think I technically had the right of way. Now Piscois, as we saw earlier in the lap, then spun out, and then I overtook them again, and that's actually completely not allowed, but they had such a big slide, so I figured they wouldn't complain since I already let them through at the start of that lap. So yeah, sorry to drone on about this. It's just these lobbies are so new for me. The rules are very specific, and I'm just trying to come to grips with it. Anyway, off we go to the rolling start. My getaway is not brilliant. It's not terrible either. I had a car next to me, Mananikov, but I don't remember that name at all, so I don't think we'll see them again in this race. Now this car on the left, the yellow and black car, started braking very early, so I took it as a moving up opportunity, and I just stayed in the middle. But that came to bite me in the butt as Piscors, the black Porsche, kind of spun halfway, and then there was contact with the purple and black car, I believe it was, and I was kind of stuck behind. And even though I, in the initial phase, slowed down heavily and I managed to avoid contact, then Piscois got on the throttle again and immediately stopped again. And I responded to the getting on the throttle, started going myself, and then I bumped into him on the immediate braking, so which we will see now. Boop. And yeah, in general there was a lot happening behind, but I started in P17, and if I recall well, I'm still in P17 or maybe 16 at this point, so not much gained, not much lost for me. I am right behind LMT and gonna try and look to make a move. In turn 4 there's a chance here on the inside, but I don't really fancy it because it's so easy to run wide and I want to avoid further contact. But then heading to the sharp long left, I first make a bit of a dummy to the outside, but then immediately cut back inside, and I do go for the dive there, which wasn't a very deep dive, and it worked out well. So I moved up to P15, and then immediately 2 cars spun out, so I take another 2 places from there, and I'm now in P13. So yeah, here we'll see the replay, moving to the outside, immediately back inside as they go for the defense. And I have the inside line, and just I am immediately on my way out of there. So yeah, happy days. Moving to the fast uphill S's, I am behind Piscors. They have a bit of a wobble there, driving the same car myself. I fully understand it. It's a pretty difficult to master section. And then we head towards the hairpin, and as you may know from my previous video, the last corner before it I always struggle with, but then the hairpin, it's my strong suit. So a bit of a gap opened up and I close it up the very next corner, or at least partially. And then there's a big gaggle of cars, I think 5 or 6, depending if you count me in and the lead car, but at this point I think we're 6 cars in a pretty close row. Piscois has a bit of a moment in the chicane, and then especially in the last corner they have to kind of prevent the slide from really growing too big. So I have a great slipstream, try to stick it out right behind them as long as I dare, and then move to the inside to try and go for the overtake. I am pretty brave on the brakes. I run it to the outside, but it's okay because I had already had the overtake complete. But Piscois played it very well and just goes for the switchback. So if we look at it again, I'm still closing up here. Then Piscois get a bit hampered down by all the cars being so bunched together and the concertina effect. And then going into or coming out of the chicane, really they had a bit of a slide to catch, allowing me to close in really well. And I just have the better exit, and then the slipstream very close behind. So yeah, really pulls me along and lets me come alongside. They pull my usual defensive move of pinching me a little bit to the inside and then moving to the outside for the braking zone, and it pays off dividends. So they retake the position. They do have a bit of a wobble heading to turn 3, but yeah, I can't immediately capitalize on it. Although towards the exit of turn 3 they have run out of room and they have to lift off a bit of the throttle. I again make the move on the inside into turn 4. I am under threat of running a little bit wide mid-corner, and they look to be making a move back to the inside, but I don't leave that much space, and I think they're a bit over-ambitious, and they end up catching curb and sliding out, and that's them out of the picture. So another position gained with a battle that's lasted 4 corners, so pretty fun. And I'm back on my way. Now in front of me we see the yellow and red car of Horde. I'll be closing up after they have some contact, and it's again a gaggle of cars, so there's always a good chance that they will make contact at some point and then allow me to capitalize on that. So that's what I'm looking to do here as well. Once more in the previous corner I lose some space, although it's less bad than my previous race, which I already learned from. I worked on that braking point, and really after the hairpin I closed all the way up. Now here I was thinking maybe if I can get on the inside there while the McDonald's car is also still on the inside, I can actually get a move done on the more yellow car of Horde, but I didn't get close enough to actually go for it. Now into the chicane, a very brave overtake by Horde on XCQCE, or Mr. McDonald's. Let's call him Ron. So now I am behind XCQCE myself. Or Rod, and looking to make a move on them. I throw a bit of a dummy into the braking zone in turn 1. I wasn't really planning on making a move there. I didn't feel I was gaining quick enough before we got to the braking zone. I just wanted to put some pressure and, you know, make them feel the heat and maybe kind of get them to make a mistake somewhere down the line. If not in that corner directly, of course. But the pressure abates a bit as they manage to open a bit of a gap through the rest of sector 1. But then into the hairpin, the gap is closed right back up. Or it's not a hairpin, but a long, tight left-hander. So again we head to the uphill S's, right in tow of these 3 cars. And then we get to this difficult corner, a very short stab on the brakes, also not full brake pressure, and I'm sticking much better with this gaggle of cars. Now, might be that they're not as good as the guy Quezada that was always catching up to me so fast in the previous video, but it's enough to be really close, and XCQCE or Ronald McDonald has I think it was contact, and it drives them wide. So I just can capitalize very easily, easy position gain. Now they'll be looking about making a move into the next 2 corners. I think they may have felt inspired by a Horde putting an overtake on them into the chicane. But it's a really difficult zone to do an overtake, especially if your opponent is not as deep behind the wheel. So I just kind of drive the normal line and I don't lose too much time. So I keep my position. I put down a personal best on the board of a 148.7. Which is better than the times of those people around me, so I was okay with it. Going into the race, I did take note after qualifying that the temperatures were very high, so I had lowered my tire pressures by 0.2 for all 4 of them, and it did help, but still my tire pressures are about 0.5 too high. You want to be in the upper 26.x, so 26.7 to 26.9. And I'm more mid-27s rather, so I won't be able to do my best lap times presumably, but I can try and approach them. Still, as I'm trying to cling on to this battle out in front, as the third dog, if you look at my delta, I'm up a full second on my delta, so not doing too shabbily. Again, this last corner, I just do a short stab on the brakes and it's really paying off, having learned from Quesada, and the guys in front have a big contact, so Van Vugen and Krivanik are both off. I do have to, or I do end up braking a bit early, and this brings XC, QCE much closer to me, but then they have another moment, I think, in the following corners, and immediately I kind of break away from them again. So 2 positions gained through no real work of my own, except for sticking with dueling cars. But yeah, I'm still, again, very happy with this. You know, these LFM races, they're for points. They're much more competitive, or not much, but more competitive than regular public lobby. And on that last lap, I even managed to do a 146.8. And this is a new personal best for me on this track, not just in this session, but in general. So very happy about that, especially given that there was still cars or positions gained in it. So yeah, I tried to do even better because I felt my confidence a bit boosted by it. But the next 2 laps, basically nothing happened. I was driving pretty consistent 147s, except for the lap 10, which was a 148.2. So I put the lap times just on the screen because I didn't want to show the start and end of 6 laps in a row. It's just not interesting. Also, there were no cars in front visible, no cars behind really in view. I opened a gap of about 6 seconds behind, and I was trailing Horde by, I think, about 10 seconds. But then on lap 11, I was again trying to push it, ill-advised because my tire pressures were already pretty crap. And then I have a big slide. I try to minimize damage and I do bang the wall a little, but yeah, luckily my car isn't too broken, as I was finding out in these next 2 corners. So I figure, okay, take it easy, boy, but just bring this home. You're not gonna gain any more positions by being brave here. You can only lose positions at this point. So yeah, be sensible and just get home safe. So the next lap, well, the previous one was a 150.3, but that was with me going off. This one is forecast to be a 148.3, which I think is fine. It's plenty not to let LMT get any closer behind. And I bring it home for my first top 10 finish in LFM with a 9th place and a new personal best on this track. So I was very happy with this, and yeah, looking to improve even more in the future and hopefully also drive some other tracks. Anyway, thank you for watching and goodbye.